Yes, Dan.
You didn't really talk about any long-term holdings, maybe perhaps
Yeah,
rentals
well,
or
I kind of
leases?
intimated that because, I mean, if we go to a REIT, then we're going to have the option to do long-term holding
Yes.
on some of our properties. So let's say that we find an apartment complex in Houston
Yes.
that's 30% occupied.
Yep.
Well, I don't know how they do at Streamline or how Stallion does it, but at Pride of Austin, we would tell the guy, you got 1 year to get it together. Well, that's a lot of pressure for a borrower to acquire property and raise those occupancy rates to get a conventional lender to look at it to take us out.
Right.
Or even get an investor to look at it to take us out. Yes, there's a great deal of upside potential in that. So if we buy it and hold it and then we manage it and build those occupancy rates, do the rehab in-house, it may take us 3, 4, 5 years to exit that property. But if it's cash cow, why would we want to exit?
Right.
We may keep it. Because again, we look for properties, this is our benchmark. If it's a 20% annualized return or greater, we will look at it.
Okay.
And I remember Josh asking me, how are you going to find properties that return that kind of return? And I looked at him and I went, oh, he's been living in downtown Austin too long. They're out there. There's lots of them.
So, in a related question, do you anticipate any tax benefits on the K1 that we might receive based upon
and that's
appreciation or whatever?
That is a great question. I don't know how Streamline reports it to their investors, but most private lenders, that K1 is considered ordinary income.
Exactly.
And it can be a high tax bracket for a lot of people. But if we're buying and holding and selling properties inside the fund and doing very little lending becomes an auxiliary income stream, whereas the purpose of buying and developing real estate becomes a primary income stream. The IRS has certain rules. I think you can go up to 10 properties a year, or then after that they consider you a professional, like a flipper or something. Mm-hmm. But up until a certain point, it's real easy to make a case for capital gains on those K1s. Mm-hmm. After that, it may get a little trickier.
Yeah.
But if we petition to become a REIT, that opens up a whole different option for our investors. So that's why I want to get to that point as quickly as I can. Because I'm like you, that 30% bites.
Yep.
And I don't like it. But that's the game.
That's one of the advantages of having a rental property is the income is almost tax-free.
Almost
write-offs, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure is. Yes, sir.
What's the minimum investment?
Oh, I love this fund. I only did 10,000 on it. What do you guys have Streamlined?
We actually don't operate out of a fund.
Oh,
it's all direct.
Private.
I thought Noble Capital was a fund.
Well, we're launching a fund here soon, but that's not something that currently is active. But we have a $100,000 minimum for our investors.
Yeah.
Still
Pride of Austin is 50. Stallion Funding is 50. First Capital, I think, is 50 to 100, depending on which of their deals you go into. And so people ask me, well, David, you have a established track record and you're going to have investors follow you and new investors come in with you. Why do you want to lower it to 10? And my response is, there's a lot of investors that have an idle 401k they could easily roll over. They don't know what to do with that because it's not enough to put into an alternative lending fund like ours or like the others I just mentioned, but it would be enough to put into A-List Partners. So we basically created A-List Partners to become a sweep for the people who have trapped money and they can't do anything with that trapped money other than leave it in the bank and here's your penny. So 10,000. And after years of talking to hundreds of investors, sometimes it's hard for an investor to move from Wall Street into a fund and come out with 50,000 or 100,000 out the gate. They want to test you, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Because every investor that's ever come into our fund has increased their investment. So I don't have a problem if they want to start out low. I like that. It's like they're saying, okay, prove it to me. Okay, I will. I love challenges. Anyone else? Good question, Sam. Thank you. I appreciate it.